Hi, I'm Christy Rost. If you're a fan of pulled pork, barbecue sauce, and chocolate cake, you're going to love today's show. And wait until I show you how you can have fall off the bone, melt in your mouth pulled pork in under 2 hours. Welcome to At Home with Christy Rost. So I'm going to start with a smoky pulled pork. I have a 4.5-pound pork shoulder and it's boneless. And I'm going to make a dry rub for it so that this is just bursting with flavor. So I have some onion powder, some garlic powder, some smoked paprika, and you can, oh yeah, you know, the aroma is incredible. It's like, oh yeah, this is not your plain paprika. Have some kosher salt, some freshly ground black pepper, this is a little bit of allspice. Just kind of an unexpected flavor in this, and 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. And just crumble this. When you measure your brown sugar, you always pack it, whether you're packing it into a tablespoon or packing it into a cup. And then you get the correct measurement for your recipes. I mix these together. I just use my hands for this. And kind of break up the brown sugar, especially if it's like it's sat here for about a half hour and it's gotten a little dry. So you just, between your fingers here, just loosen it up so it's nice and well distributed through this. All these. Okay, so here's where the start of the smoky is, because that smoked paprika already makes it smell like this is barbecue. So this is a real shortcut. We're going to do kind of meals and minutes today. So I'm going to rub this all over the pork shoulder. And I'm using a baking tray because it'll help contain all of this as I turn the pork shoulder over. And just press that in like that. Turn it over. And do this side. And I'm being very generous. I love making dry rubs. If you've been following At Home with Christy Rost, then you already know that, because very often I'll put a dry rub on meat. Just adds such a whole new level of flavor. I'm going to turn this back over and top it off here a little more. Great. Then I'm going to put this into a pressure cooker. This is a Fissler pressure cooker. It's made in Germany, and it is going to cut the cooking time on this pulled pork from about 7 or 8 hours down to about an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes. So I'm going to put this whole thing in here and get rid of this. And I'm going to wash my hands. So I love pulled pork, and most of the time I have done pulled pork slow cook method, where it just cooks in a slow cooker all day long. And yes, that smells wonderful. But you know, when you're busy, not everybody has time to cook all day, to just even just to let it sit there and do its own thing. Sometimes you just don't have that time. Or you've kind of decided at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you know, pulled pork would taste awfully good. So, you know, a slow cooker isn't going to help you there. So I have this in. Now I'm going to add some other flavor components. This is a Cosmic Crisp apple. And Cosmic Crisp is one of the sponsors of At Home with Christy Rost. this is their second year, and I'm so happy to have them. And I can honestly say, best apple I ever tasted. It is crisp and sweet. It cooks beautifully. It bakes beautifully. And to just eat it out of hand, oh my, it's a flavor treat every time. So I don't have to peel this because I want all the flavor I can get into my pulled pork. So I'm just going to slice it, about 1/4 inch thick maybe. Just going to add a little extra flavor to this dish. And slice this as well. And I will say just about every time I do this, there's a piece that never makes it into the dish. So I'm going to put these right on top. Boy, that's good. Oh, it's sweet. So put it right on top of your pork, like this. And a few pieces that maybe fall down the side, that's okay too. Because that will, here's the other part. Because that will help the broth.
Experience an immersive culinary adventure with Atlas Ocean Voyages. Led by seasoned experts, savor regional flavors and exclusive culinary moments. Discover captivating destinations and authentic traditions aboard elegant, all-inclusive yachts hosting fewer than 200 guests. Atlas Ocean Voyages, where every Epicurean adventure is a feast for the senses.
Then I have a sweet onion, and it's coarsely chopped. I'm going to put this on top of the pork too. And some garlic. I've just peeled it and cut it in half. And put that on top. So you've got like a bazillion flavors going in here. This can be absolutely so flavorful. Then I have some Two Towns Cider House hard cider. And this is made from Cosmic Crisp apples. So we're gonna double the apple wealth inside this pressure cooker. I'm pouring it down the sides here. And you put in about a cup. And I'll pour some on top here. You want to make sure you have enough broth. That looks good. And then the rest could be a treat for the cook. So then I put the lid on my pressure cooker. And again, this is Fissler, F-I-S-S-L-E-R. It's from Germany. And it's like a revolution in the type of pressure cooker I have ever seen. So put the lid on and make sure that it snaps, and it has a little green indicator here that shows, and see this button came out? It shows that this is securely locked. You know, some people say, oh, pressure cookers, I'm afraid to use it. This one is foolproof. Then here on this dial, this is where I get an indication of what's happening inside the pot. And they use what's called a stoplight kind of technology. So you have green, which is we're cooking and everything's going great. We have the yellow, which doesn't mean caution. It means the pressure is building in the pot. And so the heat is starting to build, the pressure is starting to build. Everything is going great. And then you have the red, and this little dial just pops up slowly as it heats and cooks. And if it's red, that tells me, oh, I should lower my heat a little bit because on the stove, because the pressure inside, the heat inside is sufficient, and you really don't need it that high, so turn it down a little bit. So you just kind of watch, and this will take about 10 minutes or so to come up, but it has those 3 levels of color there. It lets me know what's happening. So this is all I have to do. Now I just let this cook. It will take, like I said, about an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes. And that 4.5 pounds of pork shoulder is going to be so tender, I'm just going to be able to take 2 forks and just pull it apart. We'll be back in a minute. Developed over 20 years ago through classic breeding at Washington State University's tree fruit program, the Cosmic Crisp apple is known for its perfectly balanced flavor, remarkable texture, juiciness, and striking color. These qualities make the Cosmic Crisp apple ideal for a versatile range of uses, from snacking and baking to cocktails, juicing, decor, and more. Available nationwide at grocery stores in all seasons, the Cosmic Crisp apple is now one of the nation's best-selling apples. Cosmic Crisp is hands down my favorite apple, and I'm honored to have Cosmic Crisp as a returning sponsor of At Home with Christy Rost. So we have smoky pulled pork. We're going to get some smoky barbecue sauce to go with it. So I have a beautiful Viking saucepan here. Just going to add some canola oil to this. Don't use olive oil for this, okay? You just don't need to go to the expense of olive oil for a dish like this. Then I have some chopped garlic, about 3 cloves, peeled and finely chopped. And garlic only takes a few minutes, or actually a few moments, to soften up. Remember that it can burn if you let it cook in the pan too long. So just until it gets real fragrant, 30, 45 seconds, something like that. Then I add in ketchup. I have 2 cups of ketchup. And this is really boiling. I'm going to turn down my heat just a little. There we go. Give this a quick stir. Beautiful. Finish putting in the ketchup now. I'm sure you could hear that was just sizzling away. And that was the oil that was on this around the rim. Then I have a little bit of molasses. It's going to add some sweetness to this. I guess I can use this one. Ooh, lovely. But kind of an earthy sweetness, not like you think of sweetened sugar. This is more of an earthy sweetness, molasses. That smells heavenly. Then some brown sugar, a couple tablespoons. Pack your brown sugar when you're measuring. This is one of those kind of dump and stir kind of recipes. When you make barbecue sauce, it just goes together in a matter of a few minutes, and then you just let it simmer. And so while the pork shoulder is cooking in the Fissler pressure cooker, then I can make the barbecue sauce and let it just sit and simmer for an hour. But if you're in a hurry, you already have your meat ready, 15 minutes. The extra time just allows the flavors to develop just a little extra. A little bit of vinegar. This is about a teaspoon of vinegar. You always want to have just that little tiny bite right there that vinegar provides. A little smoky paprika. We're going to reinforce the smoky flavor from the pork and that dry rub in this barbecue sauce. A little there. And, ooh, this is liquid smoke. So lots of smoky flavors going in here. Smoky, earthy. See that? Isn't that nice? Now, I'm just going to let this simmer until my pork is ready. And we're in business. So I'll be back in a minute. When you have a busy day, it doesn't mean you can't have dessert. And there are certain times where just having a cake is, oh, it just hits you and says, oh, it's just what I needed. Well, I have a double chocolate everyday cake for you. That means it goes together pretty quickly. What I've done is I have a half cup of butter and 1.5 cups of granulated sugar, and I creamed that. Then I added in 3 eggs, and I'm about to put in the 4th egg. There it goes. So you want this to be nice and creamy and light. Then I have 2 cups of flour, and I'm adding in a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of salt. Then here comes the double chocolate. I have a 1/4 cup of cocoa and another 1/4 cup of dark cocoa. You may also see it as special dark or even European dark. So any of those terms will work for you. But what the special dark cocoa does is it creates that really dark chocolate cake rather than a light chocolate cake that you get from just plain cocoa. So I stir this together really well. And then begin to add this in. And I'm going to add the flour mixture in with milk alternately. Start with the flour. I'm going to add a little bit of vinegar to the milk. This will sour the milk. Now, why in the world would I want to sour the milk? Well, you know, buttermilk is very sour, and many times a cake recipe will call for buttermilk. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't always have buttermilk in the house, and you don't want to have to go to the grocery store just for that. So you can instead put in about a tablespoon of vinegar to milk, stir it up, that will sour it, and you'll get that same reaction as if you used buttermilk. And the reason it reacts is it's reacting with the baking soda. It's the acidic nature that really activates that baking soda. Then add in more of the flour mixture. And more of the sour milk. So I'm just going to continue this process. A little bit of milk. I hear my oven is ready. A little bit of milk, a little bit of the flour cocoa mixture, and we'll create a beautiful batter. I'll add in 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and we'll be ready to bake this cake. The cake batter is thick and rich. Look at this. This is going to make a very light cake, very light in texture. And the smell of the chocolate is pretty intoxicating. I've made this cake before, and everyone who's had it has said, oh my gosh, it's about the best cake I've ever had, and definitely the best chocolate cake. So you're in for a treat and accolades if you make this cake for your friends and family. This is the kind of cake, because it's so quick to make, you can make in the afternoon before the kids come home from school, or maybe to take into the office when you're going to have a little celebration, or maybe just to treat your colleagues. It's just quick, and that's why I call it everyday cake. There's nothing pretentious about it. It's just a 9 by 13 layer cake. So I'm going to put this in the oven, 350 degrees, and it is going to bake for 30 to 33 minutes. Off this goes to the oven. In a half hour, we're going to have gorgeous layer cake here, ready to be enjoyed. We'll cool it till it's completely cool and put an incredible double chocolate frosting on it too. If you've got chocolate, let's go all the way. So now that the cake is baked and it's totally cool, I'm going to make the double chocolate creamy frosting. So I have a half cup of butter, which is already nice and soft, and I've mixed that up. And I'm going to add in some chocolate. This is 3 ounces of bittersweet chocolate. And in a minute, I'm going to show you what that looks like. Very nice. Okay, we'll finish that in a minute. So I'm going to stop the mixer and mix this. Just bring this down a little bit to get all that chocolate into the butter. Boy, does that smell good. Oh, and I'm using bittersweet chocolate. So 3 ounces is 3/4 of this package. I'll go ahead and add in the rest of the melted chocolate now. The way to melt the chocolate is, the easiest way, is to break it up into squares, put it in a microwave safe bowl, and microwave it for 2.5 to 3 minutes at 50% power. Just be sure to stop every now and then and check to see how it's doing. As the chocolate is almost totally melted and just has a few lumps left, that's the time to remove it from the microwave and just stir to finish the melting process, okay? Then I have 3 cups of confectioner's sugar here, and I have 2 tablespoons of the dark chocolate cocoa, okay, the special dark cocoa. So I'm going to add these 2 together. I'm going to grab a whisk and whisk these 2 together. Then I'll begin to add this confectioner's sugar with the chocolate in it, the cocoa in it, to the mixer. And real slowly on the mixer. Otherwise, you'll have clouds of confectioner's sugar everywhere. And then as it gets mixed a little, then speed it up. And add in some heavy cream. I believe I'm going to use 6 tablespoons. That is correct. 6 tablespoons of heavy cream. So I'll just add, I'm going to eyeball it. Add a little at a time to make this nice and creamy. Then add a little more of the confectioner's sugar. And again, start the mixer real slowly. So I'm going to continue this process until I have the frosting all creamy and rich. I'll add in a tablespoon and a half of vanilla, and then we'll be ready to frost the cake. What a fun show this has been for me today. Smoky pulled pork, smoky barbecue sauce, and chocolate cake. So you put all those together and you have a great meal, a great treat, but you don't have to do it all at the same time. Do your pork one day and do your cake another. Just enjoy, gather together and enjoy. And speaking of enjoyment, I have a beautiful Walt Pinot Noir. This is the Blue Jay 2023 Pinot Noir, and it has aromas of dark cherry, and it's smooth and silky, lots of dark fruit. And because they ferment even the stems, they roast them during the process of making this wine, that smokiness that's in the wine from those roasting stems is a perfect pairing with the pulled pork. So, speaking of which, I have some nice wheat buns here, and I'm going to pull some of this pork for you. You just pull it apart with your forks like this. Okay, 2 forks is the easiest way to do it. Here's some more here. And this is just falling apart thanks to cooking in the pressure cooker. And it took about 2 hours. And then put this on your bun. Look at this. I'm gonna move the sauce so you can see. Oh wow. And I love the little crispy edges on the outer portion and then the juicy, tender meat on the inside of the pork. Add some of that smoky barbecue sauce. Look how thick and rich that is. Oh yeah. Now there's a party, but it's also great on a busy day. Thanks for joining me today on At Home with Christy Rost, where great food, beautiful wines, and hospitality are a tradition. For barbecue and chocolate cake lovers, this show was for you. Today's recipes are on my ChristyRost.com website. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Atlas Ocean Voyages, Cosmic Crisp Apples, Viking Culinary Cookware, and Little Bear Honey. Thanks also to our friends at Bean Candle Company, Fischler Pressure Cookers, Melissa's Produce, Tavolo, and Walt Winery. See you next time. Cheers.